it's not the exact slide you have, is it? Okay, so from your handout, the first one we know f of x is negative 4x plus 3, g of x was x squared plus x, h of x was 5 minus x. So the first one, f composed with g of 5. So that's saying f of g of 5. So first you plug a 5 into g, and what does that give you?
I gave you
5 squared is 25 plus 5 is 30. Plug a 30 into f, so you get negative 120 plus 3, so negative 117. B. We have g composed with g of 6. So if you put a 6 into g, you get 36 plus 6, so 42. And then if you put a 42 into g, you do 42 squared plus 42. You guys agreeing with these so far? Alright, C. F of g of h of 1. Okay. H of 1. If I put a 1 into h, 5 minus 1 is 4. Now we put a 4 into g, so 16 plus 4 is 20. Now put a 20 into f, so negative 80 plus 3, negative 47. Is that one okay?
Yeah.
So 1 into h, 5 minus 1 is 4. Then you have to put the 4 into g, 4 squared is 16 plus 4 is 20. And then you put the 20 into f. Which is definitely not negative 47.
Yeah, I was like, negative 80 plus 3.
Did I even say negative 80?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't know what I said. How about negative 77?
Okay, I was gonna say.
I changed it.
Nobody was questioning me on it, but I could tell from your faces something was wrong. Just didn't know what. Alright,
We're
D.
tired.
H of f of g of 0. So if you put a 0 into g, you get out. Alright, so now we have f of 0. 0 into f gives us 3. And then if you put a 3 into h, 5 minus 3 is 2. Alright, so that's kind of wrapping up what we were working on yesterday. Any questions about that? Okay. So let's take a look. So this handout I just gave you, it's starting out the same, but I'm asking you to compose functions without telling you what to plug in. Okay, so I have these three functions. When I say f composed with g of x, that means we're finding f of g of x. Okay, so you start on the inside. What is g of x? So then we put that into f. So f is 3 minus the thing we plug in. So that's 3 minus x squared minus 1. 2 minus x squared. So we don't have to just get number answers on these. If we look at B, G of H of X. So we start on the inside. What is H of X? And we're putting that into G. So G is the thing we plug in, squared, plus 1. What would we do here? Okay, if I want to square that, that means I have to write it twice and FOIL. So that would give me 4x squared minus 6x and minus 6x is minus 12x plus 9. We still have a plus 1 on the end. So the final answer, 4x squared minus 12x plus 10. And then C. H of F of X. So we'll start on the inside. F is 3 minus X. We plug that into H. So 2 times the thing we're plugging in minus 3. So that gives us 6 minus 2x minus 3. Or final answer 3 minus 2x. Any issues with those? So we can do compositions without having numbers to plug in. Why don't you guys try this one? So we have G of F of X. F is 5x plus 3. We put that into G, we get 6 minus 2. It's 5x plus 3. 6 minus 10x minus 6. Let's drop and we just get a negative 10x. Looks like we did pretty well with that one. Are we okay to move on? Okay. The next question. It's asking something very similar, but essentially in reverse. I am giving you the answer to a composition. So H is the function I got when I composed them. So if we did F of G of X, we get this for the answer. Because it told me when I composed them it equaled H. I want to know what the original functions F of X and G of X were. Now I will say on these a lot of times there are multiple correct answers. So if you have a different idea than what I say, we can check it. It will probably work. But think about what a composition does. Okay, when we're working with compositions, we always start on the inside. Which function is on the inside? F or G? G is on the inside. Okay, so the inside here is like thinking if I'm going to plug in a 4 for my x, what do I do first? What's the inside? If I said put in a 4, what would you do? And then how would you start evaluating? Would you do 4 to the 50th power first? You would do the 4 squared first. So, different options. You could say that G is the entire inside of this parenthesis if you wanted. If you did that, so then the g is the x squared plus 1. Okay, think about what we do with functions. We take something and we plug it in for x, right? So to figure out what f is, I have to think, okay, if I took that out and I put an x back in its place, then my f was x to the 50th power. So that is one possible answer. Another one, if my g of x, okay, so if we're thinking the first thing we do, you could have made your g of x just the x squared, and that's also okay. If g of x is x squared, then think about if you take that out and put an x in its place, then f would have to be x plus 1 to the 50th. Okay, you don't have to have both these answers, just one, but look at it. If you take g and plug it back into f, do we get what we started with in both of those scenarios? Yes. So you are giving me a possible combination. Let's try another one. So it tells me f composed with g is equal to h. So f of g of x is equal to h, which is 1 over x plus 1. G is the inside. That's the thing you do first. So if you're going to plug in a number for your x, what are you going to do first here? Okay. So if I said go to this fraction, plug in a 5, what would be the first thing you did? And then you do 5 plus 1. So my inside, my g of x, is x plus 1. So f, we have to think if we're undoing this function, if I take that out, so that whole thing gets switched back to an x, so f is just 1 over x. That one okay? You guys try the next one. So f of g of x had to equal this. So the inside g is the 2x plus 3. Take that out and put an x back in its spot. That means f has a x to the 3. Any questions at all there? So this is actually kind of where I need to stop today. We have one thing left to cover in this section, the domains of the compositions, but we are going to hit that tomorrow. So listen carefully. You have two things to. There is a handout posted on Google Classroom, which is just strictly practice with these compositions. That is your first priority. That one will be collected tomorrow. You should have more than enough time to get that done, and then you can work on the Math Excel from the section as well. So remember that Math Excel wasn't due until Friday. It's got everything. But you should know how to do everything except the questions talking about the domains